Now, you have to prepare for your ears for the ride of the day. I welcome to the stage Amir Taaki, and he doesn't need introduction, especially that I promised him that I will give him lots of time to really capitalize on everything he has to say. Welcome, Amir.
On my speech. Can I have my slides? Okay. I'm going to talk about DarkFi, which is a new layer 1, which is specially built for anonymous smart contracts, and it has its own virtual machine, which is specially built for programming anonymous applications. Everybody, and while I've been here, I've been hearing a lot of people speaking about this new legislation that just came out in Europe, which effectively makes DeFi heavily restricted or banned. But you know, DarkFi doesn't care. It makes us stronger because we are unstoppable and completely anonymous in the paradigm we're creating. We want to liberate the free democratic society, and we are opposed to the state and the pedophiles and the reptiles that are all inside of that. I need my notes, actually. Forgot about that. Where you going? I need my phone with Yalda. Yeah, I forgot about that, sorry. So, yeah, let me get this. Sorry, one sec. Okay, so let's go to here. So in ancient Egypt, they had this, the god of the moon, which is Thoth, and he was the god of wisdom, writing, hieroglyphs, science, magic, art, and judgment. And in Egypt, they had a man god and a woman god that governed together, which reflected their society. And the feminine counterpart of Thoth was Seshat, who was the god of accounting, architecture, astronomy, astrology, building, mathematics, and surveying. And Thoth was the moon god that in the age of the dark, or in the nighttime, he would illuminate the path for the night walkers, the people that would walk at night. And in comparison, sun gods like it says here, the sun gods usually represent power and strength. The sun, this hot static object in the sky, usually is a symbol of authority and power. And also, monotheism is deeply connected with sun worship. The Abrahamic God, he came from the sun god Elohim and the war god Yahweh. And also, the sun also represent in the cycle of history, when civilization is ascendant, it represent that age, for example, the Renaissance, the dawning of the sun. And in particular, the sun as a symbol, it illuminates everything, and so that's why as well it's connected with the idea of surveillance. Like the desert is an area that lacks all distinction, like everything is completely visible, which is the tendency of power and system of state. And it's kind of interesting now that Ethereum as a culture, which has been trying to make overtures to regulators, attaches itself to this symbolism. And we see that, for example, with a lot of the focus on public goods funding and identity systems. which a lot of these systems like universal basic income, they can only work if we have total, complete monitoring and surveillance of all of society. So, example of some sun gods, in Egypt they had Ra, which was the god of the gods, the god of the order and all the other kings of the sky. The Aztecs, he was a god of war. And Utu, which is all the civilization, the Western civilization, come from ancient Mesopotamia and ancient Sumeria. And Utu, or Shamash, which was the god of the sun, was also the god of justice. He was basically a police god. He was he policed everyone. And, right now, we're at the dawning of Western civilization, the phasing out. We are essentially between two epochs: a dying sensate culture of a yesterday that was magnificent, and the coming ideational, idealistic culture of a tomorrow that will be creative. And the rays of sun, they still illuminate the glory of this passing epoch, but the light itself is fading. And in the deepening shadows, it becomes more and more difficult to see clearly in the confusion of the twilight. And the night of the transitory period stands before us with all of its nightmares, shadows, and horrors. But beyond it is the dawn of a great culture that is waiting to greet the people of the future. And the moon illuminates the path of the revolutionaries, which allows them to walk in this looming darkness. So also we are influenced by what we term organotechnics, which is, organic mindset, which is we believe that evolution happens as a process of divergence and speciation. Stephen Jay Gould's punctuated equilibrium, evolutionary process, and networks, the selection process happens on multiple levels in the aggregate of tribes, of groups. And so therefore, when we conceptualize software, we don't think just about products, we think about ecosystems. And this is also reflecting how we design the software. For example, Linux as a system which is built out of tiny modular tools that can be chained together. But right now, the dominant philosophy in software is megatechnics, which we see even in cryptocurrency, the sprawling complexity that is the Ethereum software. And you see that, for example, with the way the products today, they're made by marketers to generate sales. They become obsolete. They're not made to serve the users or the community. And you see that with Silicon Valley products, they're essentially garbage. They're just churned out. And when we talk about nature, we don't just mean the number of trees or the number of grass. We're talking about a mindset. We're talking about the autonomy and the strength, the human spirit, the moral and political society. And politics itself is synonymous with democracy. That's why DAOs are transformative and very interesting. So we have a lot of interest in that. When we talk about Dank Net Markets, what are we talking about? We're talking about the people's economy, the free economy, which is in contrast to the state-dominated economy. Agorism, which is our political philosophy, was a political philosophy that was very important in the early days of Bitcoin in 2010, 2011. And Ross Ulbricht, who founded the Silk Road, he was an agorist. You would go onto the Silk Road, and it would not just be buying drugs. It was you're logging into the revolution. You're using markets to create revolution. And they would have manifestos, and Ross Ulbricht's favorite book was a book called Alongside Night, which is about a group of revolutionary cadre who overthrow the US government through free market economics. So the people's economy, the democratic economy is generative, it's liberatory, it's the artisans, the creatives, the small producers. And we can use free market economics to defund the state, to create our own paradigm. That's essentially what cryptocurrency is doing. That's the real value of cryptocurrency. And in particular, in a very special period now, because the regulations are coming, and crypto is going to split into two. There will be the above ground regulated KYC'd crypto, and there will be DarkFi, and that will be underground. And the more that they push back against us, the more we push back against them, and the more we push back against them, causing a feedback loop that will radicalize the community. So now let's talk about the third pillar. We talked about the Lunapunk and agorism. We talked about Organotechnics. Now let's talk about anonymous engineering. Anonymous engineering, like now we're at another special phase in technology, renaissance in cryptography, which has been spawned by cryptocurrency. Which is, there's now all these cryptography primitives that can be assembled to create a huge new landscape of anonymous applications. This landscape has not been explored before. So it's like a door that we can go through, and behind it we find many more, we find a huge open space for us to explore. And anonymous engineering is different to designing new cryptography primitives, like, for example, VRFs or Pedersen commitments or whatever. It's different to designing software, which is, linear instructions that are run on the CPU. Instead, anonymity engineering is assembling those cryptography primitives to create an anonymous application. And it is fundamentally different to the other paradigms. It's algebraic by nature. Also, ZK contracts, I've only got 6 minutes, so I'll be quick. Like, a ZK contract is very different to a normal contract, so it forces a change. This is why it's a paradigm shift, because it forces a change in the way that we conceptualize applications. Like in a normal ETH smart contract, everybody executes a function the same, but with a ZK contract, there's a prover and a verifier, somebody that constructs a statement and somebody who verifies a statement. So I can just show, here is like our ZK compiler. If I run the help, you see some help stuff. And you see I have a very simple ZK proof here, which is to take 2 secret values and it produce some instructions. And when it says constraint instance, it's revealing that publicly. So, if I run this, it will show what happens with the virtual machine when you load that contract into it, and you see all the instructions that will be executed underneath in the zero knowledge virtual machine. And also, I can also run here, and I can see the actual output of the bin code when it's compiled. So if I want to compile it, I just do like that, and it's compiled. So anyway, let's now go through some examples of anonymous applications. So a vote, you have a serial number where before the voting begins, everybody constructs a serial number, everybody commits to that, but the serial number is not secret. Everybody has their own random serial number, and when we want to actually do the vote, then we reveal that serial number, invalidating that commitment, but then we construct a proof that says, there's a coin derived from this serial number, and that this coin is in the set of all the valid coin commitments that have been accepted, without revealing which coin it was. So that's the unlinkability of that anonymous vote. And you can also extend that further by adding more attributes inside of that coin. So you can, for example, add a value, you can add a token ID, you can add other stuff. The value allow you to have payments. You can do swaps. So swaps is just like you add more rules to your consensus about the structure of the transaction, where you say, for example, even though the asset and the amounts and the keys are completely encrypted, you can still do comparisons between those encrypted values, because those values are encrypted using the same blinding factor. So it enables you to say, there's this amount of value, coming from this key, but it's the same amount of value on the other output going to the same key. So you already have swaps, and then if you chain all these rules together, then you can construct an anonymous DAO. So then you can have people make proposals. They have to have a certain number of governance tokens. People can submit encrypted votes, and then at the end of the voting period, somebody from the DAO is able to construct a proof saying that that this proposal passed, and that therefore the funds are transferred out of the treasury of the DAO. All of this completely anonymous. All the parties, everything, participants, the votes, nothing is revealed. It's completely anonymous, but it's settled on chain. So we're going to release a demo of that this month or maybe next month. You can also do staking. You put when you stake your token, you want to anonymously earn yield. So you earn a token as 1-to-1, but then the reward is dripped into a pool, and so anytime you can take that 1-to-1 intermediate token and redeem it for the reward, and everybody else can do it from the same pool. And so you don't reveal how much you are staking. And this is an example of using a financial engineering technique to have to get around a limitation of anonymous engineering. Also for anonymous DAOs, we built our own peer-to-peer task management system. We built our own peer-to-peer chat, because all the projects now, crypto projects, they all use these centralized normie Silicon Valley platforms like Discord or GitHub, and you're giving all of your value away to these platforms. So we wanted to keep our community here, so we made our own anonymous, uncensored chat application, which is peer-to-peer, which on the back end connects to the peer-to-peer network, and then you can use any IRC front end to connect to the local daemon, and then the internet here, I guess, is not great, and then you can chat with other people. Try again. Okay, I guess not. Yeah, and so then our goal is to make, after we've made the DAO, is then to make markets, swaps, information markets, all kind of stuff, but all completely anonymous. Oh yeah, by the way, anybody wants stickers and merchandise, come up now. On this table here is an entire table full of shiny, glow-in-the-dark stickers. All right, that's the end of my talk. By the way, check out this article as well if you're interested in the thesis about the divergence between RegFi and DarkFi that I mentioned earlier. Excellent article. Thank you, everyone.